Welcome to Suburbiaville. Not sure if you can hear the sounds of a weed eater, the car driving by, and whatever the neighbor's doing today. But let's chat about the top reasons we have for escaping the suburbs. So we've lived in the Houston area for all of our lives. We've been a little bit more rural than this, but for the last 6 years, we have called this place home. And while it's definitely served its purpose, we've decided we want to move country, more country than we've ever lived before. We're certainly not moving tomorrow, but it's going to happen. One of those reasons is the HOA. It's a homeowners association if you're not sure, but they're the people that tell you that you can't have a purple house. And while I live in a neighborhood where purple houses wouldn't quite work, it's also a little silly. Just this last weekend, I was reading something on the neighborhood Facebook page where it was some ridiculous fees in order to refinance the house and in order to get it expedited. It was essentially over $200 to get records on fees to live in the neighborhood. They didn't move, they didn't do anything crazy, and it's literally just paperwork. Crazy, right? Or how about the rule where you can't put out your trash can for the trash the next day until 6 p.m.? Why have there literally been letters sent for something out at 5:30 p.m.? Like, who drives around looking for houses at 5:59 to see who has their trash out early? Seriously. Or this last year when we were in lockdown and nothing better but a swimming pool would have been great, but you can't have an above ground pool in the neighborhood because if a neighbor could see it from their second story window, heaven forbid. Another one of our fun instances with the HOA is that we have this tiny cul-de-sac front yard, but they required 2 trees, 2 oak trees. Seriously? Foundation problems? No, thank you. That's now gone. I'm sure we'll get a letter soon. We just had snowpocalypse from Winter Storm Uri, and we have what looks like a possible dead palm tree in the front yard. So I'm semi-expecting a letter, even though they're telling us we won't know if it's actually dead for 30 to 45 days. Thanks. Another reason to escape Suburbiaville are easements. These property lines are already kind of tight for these homes. We came home to a utility company doing work in the neighborhood one day, which led us down the path to find out where exactly our lines are in easements so that we know what's going to be tore up in our yard. For some reason, I had in the back of my mind that it was a 3-foot easement and 5 foot for utilities. But when I actually looked at our survey, it's 10 feet. And 10 feet on less than 1/4 of an acre on each side is actually a lot. Whereas if I had 5 acres, they can have their 10 feet. We actually live in a cul-de-sac and it's mostly pretty quiet. Our neighbors don't have crazy raging parties or anything like that. But if they did, I could see where that'd be a headache. How about a barking dog keeping you up all night? Or what about sirens? They're just a regular occurrence whenever you live in a more densely populated area. My favorite when I was reading a comment on Facebook from a friend that actually had the cops called on them at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was a family of 4 having breakfast in their backyard. How loud could they have possibly been at 10 a.m.? You hear that? It's a saw, not a bird. I would much prefer to have more nature in my world. We certainly have our share of snakes, and I have a fun story where there was a possum in our house. But I'd prefer for it to be outside, but either way, I'd prefer a little more nature and a lot less pollution. Oh my goodness, the soul-crushing traffic. That is definitely a pain. I actually work 8 miles from my house, and that 8 miles takes me 50 minutes to get there. And fun story, it takes me 50 minutes to drive into downtown Houston. All the lights, school, work, restaurant, no matter where you go, there's a million lights and lots of traffic to go with it. Property taxes are notoriously high in Texas. We don't have an income tax. I'm sure there's a lot of other reasons there, but we have actually already purchased property in another county. And it's kind of interesting that the taxes where the new property is, new, maybe not new, but where our new to us property is, the taxes are quite a bit lower. Well, we had an interesting incident that involved a dog bite, but through that we discovered they don't have animal control in the other county. So there's a lot less amenities in that new county. So you're making a trade-off for those property tax dollars and how they work for you. And I will take that any day. And you want to see something kind of neat? That's the neighbor's fence. Let's turn you a little bit. That's the neighbor's house. That one might be a little bit obvious, but clearly the houses are quite tight. Escape from Suburbiaville. Watch this next video to help you find land for your next non-HOA adventure.